School Board. Standard meeting. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I understand we have special leaders. All right, thank you very much.
Say the pledge.
Yes.
Okay. All right, guys. I am here.
This is okay.
Safety as far as fire code, number of people that could be moved to the commons.
The main issue is the fact that because we're broadcasting live and we're required to, we don't have another access site. So we would ask that if we get to capacity, that you simply rotate in. That is the only choice we have, because we cannot shut out the Zoom and all the people in the waiting room.
How many people are online?
More meetings in the PAC and Zoom has been a part of it. We've had
How many-
other meetings in the PAC where Zoom has been a part of it.
How many people are online?
Many. There is. There's already 10 just in the waiting room, 34 joined.
So
It's not set up.
You should have said that. You should have been prepared.
You guys are really not
It's not
prepared with anything.
okay, this is our school board meeting. We aren't discussing anything. Do we want to move to the PAC? Do you hear a proposal or? I mean,
I'll propose it. I'll second it.
So we're required to have the Zoom, I mean,
we have to have the.
is that a-
Online access. Mona, if I'm not mistaken, the pack is currently in the bathroom next to it.
I don't have.
Yeah. The pack right now has a basketball practice in it.
Okay, well, if there's anybody that feels uncomfortable, we can wait inside and then cycle in when you want to speak. Definitely leave the door open. You guys don't have to stay if you don't want. Not more than 6 feet.
Oh, no, I'm still. Oh, I understand.
Yes, Skylar.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the approval of the agenda. Comments, questions?
Yeah, Mr. Thornton, I would like to make a change to the agenda if possible.
All right,
I'd like to remove from the proposed consent agenda item 5B in its entirety.
B. Do I have the right one?
Hope so.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking around the wrong one. Okay,
And that would then move be tabled until further notice.
any other comments?
So there'll be discussion on that at a later date.
No discussion at a later date to be determined.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Oh, you're gonna watch.
So, okay, accept the motion.
The board would like to hear public comment, even though we won't be making a decision on that meeting, so. Or on that item on the agenda, so. we still would like
Public
to
comment
hear
is
from you.
next, so. We'll get to it. Okay,
So removal of 5B and then simply
We'll table it till later.
table it. And then the rest of the consent agenda as listed.
Okay. Entertain a motion.
I move to approve tonight's meeting as amended.
I'll second it. Okay, moved and seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so item B will be tabled till a future meeting. What's that?
I'm sorry, I just seconded it.
Oh, I was Rick.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, we just approved that. No executive session this evening.
No, but I'll explain that tomorrow.
Okay, we're gonna move to public comment. The board welcomes public comment from the community. Follow our procedure, please.
Consent agenda first.
We did agenda.
What?
We need to do.
We need a consent agenda.
Delegations,
Yeah.
I'm ready to move on.
delegation. Yeah.
Okay,
Delegation.
then, all those in favor of the consent agenda? No,
Delegations first.
We have delegations? I thought we didn't.
We do not have delegations this evening. That's okay.
Okay. All right, so now the proposed consent agenda as amended.
So I move to approve the proposed consent agenda as amended.
Okay, and we just seconded, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Now I can say my speech first. Okay, we welcome input from the community. Follow the public comment procedure, state your name when recognized by the chair. Each person has 3 minutes to speak. The board is not allowed to discuss items. We won't be answering questions. We will direct the superintendent to follow up on items that arise during the board comment as appropriate. We do not allow complaints against any particular individual staff member or students. The chair may interrupt or terminate an individual statement when it is lengthy, personally directed, abusive, obscene, or irrelevant. And the board has a final decision in determining the appropriateness of all reasons. That's straight from our policy.
What policy is that? It says that you.
1400.
And it said that you can't answer any questions.
We don't, that's a standard Open Public Meetings Act.
If it's not on the agenda, we can.
Okay, so I guess you're first, huh?
Wait on.
I got the clock. You're on.
From the minute I was asked to be the superintendent, I was scared out of my mind. I had so many doubts and wondered if I would be able to be capable of doing this district the justice it deserved. For 2 weeks, I hardly slept, ate, or could think of it, nothing else but about the challenge I had accepted. Thank goodness I had a strong, kind, caring, and empathetic wife who built me up, made me feel good about myself, encouraged me every step of the way along our journey. The truth is, nobody can accomplish anything on their own. It takes many people working together every single day for a common goal. I was lucky to have many, many people who thought I deserved the chance to make Tybee the district where every student and staff member wanted to be because of our kind, caring, empathetic, and strong desire to show them how much we care about them. I had some major players helping me along my journey as superintendent. As I mentioned earlier, my wife was the inspiration I needed when I needed it. Without her by my side, I would have surely failed. Kim Scott kept me in check with finances and made sure we treated all staff equal when it came to salary. Her job was to say no when she really wanted to say yes. My job was to make the no seem a little more like a maybe. Her insight and help was invaluable to me. She worked hard for this district. Mr. Lloyd was my ideal man and was my moral compass. He always kept the kids in mind, no matter what decision needed to be made. He was my counsel, my confidant, and someone I looked up to. Mr. Feth has more experience here in this school district than anyone. His guidance, no matter on matters involving staff, parents, and students have been invaluable. His counsel and advice was appreciated. His kindness, understanding, and grace has always been underappreciated. He's given so much of himself to this district over the years and continues to this day. Shelley Knight works hard and is an honest, hardworking individual for this district. She knows more about payroll than anyone I know. I've appreciated her friendship during some very difficult times. I learned so much from the teachers and appreciate all they do. Some special ones stand out and I will be forever grateful for them. Thank you to Irene Alvarado, Don Zorn, Stephanie Adamson, Erica Repko, Connie Meredith, David Lake, Kim Cruz, Lisa Stady, Joni Ashley, Ben Vargas, Marty Martinez, and Ben Hill. There are more, but I would be taking far too long, but thank you to you all. Bus drivers, custodians, grounds, maintenance, kitchen staff, and EAs, without them, we just couldn't function. The role they play in a student's education can be, in my opinion, extremely important. They can start the day on the right step, smile at the right time, and give a student an encouraging word at any moment that can make a difference in their life. I know because they didn't mind when I went to school here. Thank you, Manny, just one of the many people I remember when I went to school here. Thank you to Sue Steinbeck, Steinbaugh, Randy, George, Troy, Candace, Amanda Hall, and Sandy. There are all countless others too that work hard in education. Were and are ever. Thanks, a special thank you to Nurse Teresa, to the administrators, student support specialists that provide a boost to students, secretaries such as Libby Lewis, Cheryl Coriel, and Adela Rangel, and Katie Richardson, and Christine Huber. To the board members who always help me out, Tim Cook, Leslie Johnson, Ivan Howard, Tony Chase, Wayne Elston. I'd go on, but I'm out of my 3 minutes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Wade.
Oh, or after, yeah, I'll just leave it up here. I have quite a few questions, and I'm gonna go ahead and leave you guys a copy of it. I'll leave that with you. So there's no mistake on what we're asking. And if anybody needs a question, I'm going to up here for you. Okay, so now.
State your name, please.
Oh, sorry, Leslie Johnson. I used to be on the board. I do not have children in the school district, but I pay a ton of taxes. So I think it's right that I come and find out what's going on. There's many that are important up here, but I'm just going to start at the top. If we have actually released these 3 individuals, 2 of which actually work in the school with the children, and they take on some children who are very difficult to sit still in class. I'll just say it that way. Is that right? Is that nice? That's enough. Anyways, I don't know what you guys are going to do with some of these kids who have nowhere to go now, because I can tell you when they're not in the classroom, they're sitting in the office, they're not learning. And when they go to that classroom, they're learning. And now they don't have that anymore. So I'm very upset about that. But that being said, with Mr. Hahn being gone, who's going to be writing? I know you're not going to answer me, and I think I know the answer, but who's going to write the for the grants now? A. B, the money that was allotted for his position and the other 2 that you guys have let go. Where will that money go now? Where's it going to be allotted to now? B, what will happen? Already said that. And do we get reimbursed for those positions as they are happening? I think it's a monthly reimbursement. So it's not actually coming out of the budget for the school. So why are we having to get rid of those positions if they're already funded through the grant system and not through general funds? So those are my questions. Since I still have some time, another question: if we're laying off people due to funding, why are we trying to hire a vice principal at the high school? That doesn't make any sense to me. When we started at the school board, we ended up with a surplus, so we were able to put vice principals at all the schools. But it's certainly acceptable for the vice principal at the middle school to work half-time at the middle school and half-time at the high school, rather than hiring a full new vice principal. Just saying. If the district is in red financially, why was the superintendent given a raise on the contract this year? And it was given early. The contract was renewed early prior to the levy vote. Those are 3 of my questions. And then lastly, why is the district paying an individual $175 an hour, 10 hours a week, at the tune of $7,000 monthly to complete paperwork for the psychologist? That's my understanding. I may be off a little bit, but we have counselors and we have a special services director who can help with those things instead of paying $7,000 a month to somebody who's only here 10 hours a week. And I left off on number 4. So number 5.
So my name's Kelly Wheeler, and I'm gonna talk fast. I know you're not gonna answer, that's all right. But I want to get some things in. First and foremost, I know that levy money and FTEs as far as employees are separate, apples and oranges, I get that, but when the levy was ran, how much did we pay for that? Versus if we would have waited, until November to do it. And at the time that we did that, we clearly knew that we were gonna have to lay people off, and I think that you guys weren't real transparent about that. Knowing the money is separate, but it still gives a really bad impression to the public when we voted yes for these levies. Only to then turn around and find out that people are losing their jobs, right? And you can't say you didn't know, because you don't just come to school one week and decide we have to get, I know those are hard decisions. I'm not saying they're not. So that's one of my questions that I'd like to know. The other one is, the positions that were laid off, surely they weren't the ones making the financial decisions and approvals, right? So that starts with you guys and the superintendent. So my question is, are we getting rid of anything up here? What are we doing at the top that got us here? Because we clearly are in a bad financial crisis right now, where we're having to get rid of key employees. But those key employees didn't make the financial decisions that got us here. So how did we get here? I just think that's not real transparent.
Thank you.
My name's Lori Hahn. Y'all know who I am. Being a school board member is not an easy job. It takes far more time than most realize. It's an underappreciated part of every district, and I sincerely thank you. But with that said, you chose to run and you agreed to shoulder the responsibility of this position. I feel bad for you, Mr. Gonzalez, and you, Mr. Skipper, because now you have to help answer for the decisions that have led us here today. I'm sure you're aware that there is an RCW that can hold you liable. I have done everything in my power to make you aware that things are not good at Hy-Vee. I have spoken to every one of you except for Mr. Gonzalez, and I am more than happy to speak with you, sir, if you're interested. I have shared with you that the climate here is terrible, that the staff are not happy, and that money is being spent where it should not be. It has fallen on deaf ears. Are you aware how much this affects our kids? You have a duty to not blindly agree with everything that Mr. Peterson tells you. You are required to ask questions, to listen to the staff and community, and to do your own research and make decisions that you feel is best for our kids. Letting go, or potentially letting go, of two people who work in our buildings daily for kids is not what is best for them. These are important employees who work with some of our most vulnerable kids every day. Students who rely on them for academic help, emotional support, and someone to be on the path with them towards graduation. These students are homeless, live in difficult circumstances. They struggle academically, emotionally, and in need of someone on their side. Can we ever have too many people to walk the path with them? Are we so broke that it would be worth ripping these two individuals out of our buildings? Mr. Peterson sent an email out to the staff on March 1st stating, and I quote, "We are not implementing a reduction in force other than through attrition at this time." End of quote. The very next day, he let our student support specialist and ISS person from the middle school and the student support specialist from the high school go with only a week's notice. 2 days later, he let our grants manager have the same letter with 1 week's notice. That is a lie. Where is our moral compass and compassion, and how is it okay that the staff, that no one is, how is it okay to assure staff that no one is being let go and then put 3 hardworking individuals' financial future in danger? They have mortgages, student loans, and financial obligations, and now the worry of how to pay for them on their plates. They did not put this district in financial despair. Our superintendent did with your approval. We have failed 2 levies costing the district tens of thousands of dollars. We barely passed the 3rd one. It should be apparent to you that the community is not happy with Mr. Peterson or how he is running our district. He has chosen not to live in our community, something that no other superintendent has ever done, and you allowed it. He has no ties here other than a paycheck, and most people who live here have no idea who he is. Why didn't we make the community aware of how broke we were prior to running our levy?
Argue about finish.
Don't like what you're hearing, so you're turning her off.
No, I think the 3 minutes is come and gone.
I haven't heard the timer, Dan. You don't have to be rude. I'm almost done.
I asked you that. Yes, please
I
continue
don't
if you're about
interrupt you
done.
when you're talking. Please don't do it to me. It doesn't shine lightly on you.
I have a
Okay.
job with the
Most
chair.
people-
Is this the way it's gonna be?
Why?
This
would
is
the
a meeting that
community-
you guys are participating in.
And I have.
It's our
3
meeting.
minutes. I have 3 minutes.
Your
And you're
3
the one
minutes
who
are coming
wants the
on.
meeting.
You guys work for us.
I'm almost done.
This is our meeting.
I paused it for you.
Thank you.
It's a meeting for the public, Dale.
No, this is a board meeting. You guys are welcome to attend and listen.
You're absolutely right, per your policy.
Yes, exactly.
that's
And you
what we're
can comment for 3 minutes.
Then let me finish mine, please.
I just asked you if you were about done. That's all I commented.
And I told you almost. As soon as you
Please
quit
do.
talking, I will finish.
Please finish.
Why was the community not made aware of how broke we were prior to our levy running? You should have been aware of our financial status prior to asking the taxpayers to give you more money. It is your duty to ensure that Mr. Peterson is a good steward of our funds. The staff and community are not stupid. This is not the cost of diesel and milk going up. We all have had a cost of diesel and milk going up. We are not in the danger of being in the red, you are. You still chose to renew his contract. Our kids deserve better from you. Our taxpayers deserve better from you. And since my 3 minutes are up and I was rudely interrupted, I'll email you the rest of my comment.
Hi, my name's Vic Engelhardt. Let me know when you're ready to start.
Whenever you are, Vic.
I'm ready. One of the things that's really disappointing is when I see Chris Howell's name on this possibly reduction for us. Chris does an outstanding job with the students. They're sometimes very difficult in the classroom. And you say, you don't have the money. Well, I'm going to give you some examples that you have the money. It's not being spent correctly. Number one, you're not getting subs out here because your pay is as similar or same as the Tri-Cities. They're not going to drive out here for that. Number one. Number two, the most important is if you go back in your books and you check out the number this district has spent to put in teachers giving up their prep time to go cover the classes. Yes, they get paid for it, but there's many of them said they don't want the pay. They want the time in the classroom so they can work and do their jobs best for kids. But we don't do that. And I know because of the salaries going up, the number what it costs per hour. And every teacher gets paid for covering a class, 1 hour of pay. That ranges anywhere from 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 plus. And when they have to go in the class and cover 6 periods, my mathematics, and I know do it well, is you're spending 400 plus per day to cover the classes because you can't get subs out here. And the current sub pay is 150. Other districts, not only do they pay for the sub, but if they are pulled for their prep period, they get an additional stipend. So you're not going to get the subs that live in the Tri-Cities, the residents. I've been told they're not going to drive out here. Why would I drive out here for the same amount that I can stay in there? And every time I come out here, 90% of the time, they have to go cover a class during the prep time. And I had one of the faculty members here tell me that, and I agree with them 100%. When they're gone, they're charged or they're used their sub days. Yet they're pulled. That sub is pulled out of that class and go to someplace else. And when they left something to be done during that prep time, it doesn't get done. And so they pay for it when they get back because what they thought was going to be done, it's not done. And yet it was charged to them for that sub time. So if the subs aren't getting paid, then the teacher who takes has that sub day should get reimbursed back for their time that they lost at their per diem rate, which would be a lot more than what it is. This district is too great of a district for kids if we want to run it right. There's no reason we're in this kind of a debt.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, it's my taxes, I think you got me here. That, they went through the roof, that was pretty, a big amount, but Chris Howe, that one hurt pretty bad. Wade Hahn, that one hurt pretty bad. I was a school board member here. I've seen a lot of what's going on, but our administration numbers are the highest I think I've ever seen for accountability. So we're going after people that work with the kids when you got secretaries, you're getting bonuses. We've got admin that are they don't have any contracts. All the admin that don't have contracts and high salaries, they can go. You're only allotted 3.7% for your principals. So it should be a principal per building. All your vice principals go. I mean, that's how it has to go when you're in the red and we're screaming for money. But we don't take away from our kids. And that's what I see you guys all doing. You guys are taking away from the kids when you can cut the fat a lot of other places right now. I mean, we're giving raises to people. You're giving raises. We're hiring new vice principals when, what's the allotment? I think it's 3.7. Do you know what the allotment is for IT for the admin? So that's something you need to look into. I'd like to get answers on that. But I think it is 3.7%. So that's 3.5. So you'd have a principal in each building and then a floater. But you don't get all these other ones. And then the superintendent position for secretary, we made that position. But that's when we had money. When you don't have money and there's no contracts to them positions, them are the ones you guys got to cut first. You don't come after the teachers or the guys helping with the kids, all them, that's the last that we go after. And yeah, I'm sorry that we can't get the support that the teachers are going to need, but the teachers still have to stay where they're at. So I see that you guys got to do the trimming elsewhere first. There's a whole bunch of, I'm out of curiosity. My question would be, how many administrators do you have in this school district? And how many are paid 100% out of levy dollars? That's my question for Mr. Peterson, all you guys. And then what our allotment is for our numbers for admin per buildings. But yeah, coming after these ones, man, that was bad. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Tom's Horn. I've been in this district for a number of years because I love this district. I love the staff that I work with, and seeing Chris Howell losing his job, y'all don't even know what he does with the kids. You're not in the buildings to observe what he does with our kids, and he does a great deal with our kids. He helps them. He builds the kids up. He's there for them. He is a security person for our kids. I was here in this district the last time we went through a similar situation as this. That man right there dug us out of the hole. And the way that we treat this is, I'm just disappointed in y'all in even considering releasing these people from their jobs, because you guys say it's about the kids. Those are your words. Your actions speak so much louder than that. And I hope you guys remember that. Remember, it is really about the kids.
Hey, I'm Summer Smith. My concerns are not only about the kids, but the budget, the way the budget affects the kids. If our budget is so bad at this point that we're laying off Chris, Augustine, and Wade, then we are in bigger trouble than the public realizes. And that's a huge concern for me. We are paying a tenured teacher over $100,000 to teach Spanish at the high school. Nothing against this person, but we could have hired somebody for $30,000. That's money. That's a huge deal. We pay a psychologist to work remotely from Spokane with our IEP children. I don't even know how that works. He's remote. He doesn't even know these kids. You know, and I'm all for the teachers getting raises. I think they have one of the hardest jobs in the world. But when we make these contracts and we give these raises, what is the district getting in return for that? Other than just time in the classroom? You know, there has to be more to it. Also concerning our children is the policy 6513, the Benton City firearms policy, still in effect. This is huge to me and huge to a lot of the members of this community. Our district is not any less vulnerable than any other district in the nation where our children are concerned and somebody walking in. They might not get past that second door, but let's face it, they can shoot Lori through that window. You know, you can walk right on any one of our school grounds. Just walk on. The other day I watched a lady walk on the elementary school playground. The playground is full of children. And she just walked down the street, walked across the playground. Not one person out there stopped her. This is huge for me, huge. There's so many things. I mean, I could just go on and on. I called the state auditor's office. According to them, we received $5.2 million in COVID money. Where did that money go? What happened to that money? From 2018 to 2023, payroll has gone up approximately 30%, with an increase of an average of $600,000 a year. $600,000 a year in this little bitty school district. You guys owe us an explanation for that. We deserve that. If I'm going to pay taxes and pay for the school here, I deserve an explanation to why our payroll went up $600,000 a year, with 7 less employees than we had in 2008. And according to the article in the Tri-City Herald, Mr. Peterson contributed to this, saying we currently have 5% of our total budget in reserves, with an expected decrease to only 1.8% by year completion. So how much is currently in the budget, in the reserve budget? That should be a lot of money. Those are my questions. As far as Chris and Augustine go, and Wade, there's not any 3 people in this district that do more for these kids than they do. Every day. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Amber Farley and I work at the middle school. I've been here for 18 years and just like Mr. Warren, I love Kylie and that's why I've stayed. I want to directly appeal to you guys, please reconsider letting Mr. Hull go. I don't think you guys understand what an impact he has on our students, and losing this position is going to hurt our most vulnerable kids. Research shows that having one caring adult when you are in school can make the difference for kids. Either they graduate or they get lost in the system. And Mr. Howell is that caring adult for so many of our kids. And these are the kids that do not have support at home. They do not have strong role models. They are struggling. And what he does at our school is tough. I don't know how we've kept him this long. He works so hard every day. He deals with kids that have been fights. He deals with kids that have, done things at recess. And then while he's doing all of that, he is checking grades and pulling kids in and sitting down with them and helping them with their schoolwork. And I have seen a night and day difference in the support available for those kids since he's been here. And so you guys need to reconsider this. We cannot lose Chris's position. Also, we're already seeing the effects of him not being there. Okay, we've had, I think, 3 students suspended already. And they would be with Mr. Howell, but now they're out of school. And when they're out of school, they're basically having a vacation. They are not doing their schoolwork. When we have in-school suspension with Mr. Howell, they don't get behind and they're able to keep up with their classes and they're able to come check in with us and get the support that they need. And so I beg you guys, don't do this to our vulnerable kids. It is a terrible, terrible decision. And many of you guys have worked with Wade for years, and I want you to reconsider. Directly, I want to ask you, please reconsider this. Mr. Hahn saw us through a terribly difficult time, and he works very hard with the interests of our students at heart. And so I think you guys are making a mistake. Chris is one of our own, okay? And he has done so much for our school, and so please reconsider.
Yes.
Hi, my name is Amanda McDonough. So I've been here 5 years. I took over for Ben Hill. So been around a little bit less. Chris helped me feel at home here. And like Amber said, you guys aren't in the building. You don't know what impact he has. I've already got kids asking me, who's going to help me with my grades? Who's going to help me when I'm having a bad day? And I just need someone, because he not only helps them do their work, he listens to them. He puts them on a path that is better than where they are and where they're going. He is everything to those at-risk kids that they're not getting elsewhere, even from some of the teachers. He can give them the small group environment, that small, just more attention than even the teachers are able to give them, because we're busy trying to teach our class of 30. He's got, sometimes he only has 5, 10 kids in there. He works with each one of those kids. He spends that time. And again, it's not just the academics. Like we said, we've got 3 kids that are OSS. It's party time. They're not getting the mentorship that they would get under him. They're not getting the academic help. It's party time and no responsibility and no, nothing for them. Is this really in the kids' best interest? Is it? I don't think so.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Liddy Lewis. I haven't been here as long as many teachers, but I have 3 kids go through the school. It's an important thing, Gus, at this school. When I first got hired here, I said, Lord, please don't let me in the middle school. Do not do it. But I love these kids. And as everybody knows, COVID has set these kids back. So instead of taking from these kids and failing these kids like we're doing, we got to continue helping these kids. We see it daily. Some of them don't get food. They don't get things that they need. We are here to support these kids. We need Mr. Howell. I don't work at the high school, but I know he is just as important as Mr. Howell is to us at the middle school. I remember talking to Mr. Henry one time, and he told me right before I got a job hired on full time, he said, it's about the kids. That's what school is. We are here for the kids. And I just want to plead with you guys. We are losing 3 exceptional people that are here for our kids. We love them, and we just need you guys to hear us tonight, not get upset with us, because we're here to fight for our kids, Mr. Thornton. Tonight, it's not about you or me, or it's about the kids. And that's what we're here to do. So please consider our kids tonight.
Hi, I'm Chris Howell. I'm the guy that I was talking about. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you. Where to start here? We got lost. I can go through all the kids stuff, but you've heard it about me thousands of times. I just wanted to point out how beginning of the year, I had taken a pay cut. Zero. He halted my pay. It was sneakily done. Lily didn't tell me. I just showed up with my paycheck one day. I had to figure it out. Okay, team. More salary thing, so I decided, hey, let's work through this year. Just finished my master's. I'm open to teach here. Like IB, elementary, high school, middle school. You guys can open up the social studies job, but looking at that now, probably not. But I'm a Coyote kid. I was gonna stay here forever. I live here. Now I've been pushed another way. That's okay. I mean, everything happens for a reason. Figure it out, but just how sketchily it was done. It's a budget. And for it just to pop up, boom, automatically, right as the levy passes, that boom, my job's gone. That's with 7-day notice. This last week, it's been hell for me. Been searching for jobs, might suck. You know, try something. So I'm not lazy. Snow, you only saved about $12,000 by cutting. You lost the hearts and souls of these guys, community. You lost their trust. And everybody else, they're not gonna trust you. We're gonna be on their toes because they think they're next on the chopping block. I hope it was perfect for you guys. I wish you guys the best. I think Kaibe's the best school ever. I'm a Kaibe kid through and through.
You're part of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm Tracy Howell, obviously Chris Howell's mom. I don't have a kid in the district, but I have a kid working for the district. I come here tonight just to support. I was going to stay quiet. We've raised our kid to do right. And I've always expected our school board to do right thing. We've taught him compassion and we transferred to here. One day I was talking, someone said, well, what's your son do at school? And I said, he works with the troubled kids. And I happen to be telling Chris that, and that's the way I take it. And he says, no, Mom, those aren't troubled kids. Those are kids that didn't make the right decision. And I was like, but he's like, they just didn't make it. Some don't have the grades, some have trouble. You guys need to look at that and see. That's him speaking on his own. He was not being paid to do that. We have installed the best values possible in our children, and I expect you guys to do the same thing. I encourage people, I have a business in town. I encourage people, pass the fire, pass the school, no matter what, pass it. But this, you guys are not going to get that support anymore. And sadly, that's the way it's going because it can't be trusted. I don't understand how you could have funding for these people, but all of a sudden, 1 week, there is no funding. You should have known that in August. Either somebody was not doing their job correctly. There's some funds. I can do basic math. I didn't go to college. Okay, but I know if you divide it up by 12 and you run out 6 months into it, there's a problem. Figure it out. So these kids can thrive the way they're supposed to be thriving. I've watched Mr. Hahn go through a lot with these kids. I've watched people support him, even when it was not looking so pretty for him for a little while. Because he stood behind his word. He stood up for what he was saying and it helped. You guys need to really look and see what the benefits for the kids are. I'm out and about with Chris during this. He makes sure he supports every school function. How could a school not support him? Hey, Mr. Howell, you hear it all the time. There's about 3 kids that bow their head and go the opposite direction. I get it. But you guys need to do what's right. Because you know what? Some district's going to get him and you guys are going to be regretting it. And I told him, look at this as an opportunity. Don't look at this if it's not good. Because you guys have made this. You guys should have all looked into the funds and made sure that it was available. Offer up a little bit of money, guys. Support your kids. Amen.
My name's Ivan Howard. Nice beard, Dale.
Anyway. Letting all joking aside. When you take the reins over from an administration that's got it on the road. And the thing ends up in a ditch, it wasn't the fault of the last administration. It's the ones that are holding the reins that are accountable. Now, 2 of these board members should have known better. 2 of them are fairly new. Now, we need to do some changes here. And you can either do it voluntarily or we'll do it by voting. We are the public. This is a public school. Your bosses are Joe Public, and you are looking at them right now.
Really?
And when you're in the ditch, we're gonna do everything we can to help you out, but we're not gonna stand there and coddle you. It's time to start cutting where the cuts need to be. You can't do this. It's wrong. And you'll see this come next time we vote, if you don't correct it. I was born and raised in this town, raised 4 children that graduated from Ky-D. Currently have 5 grandkids going to school here, soon to be 8, 9 come October, but she'll be a while. All right, so I've got a lot vested here. And I don't want to see it go down. But it's pretty bad when my wife and my daughters think that maybe homeschooling might be the idea to go and get away from this place. And I don't want to see that. And we shouldn't have that. It's time to correct that steering wheel, put the car back on the road, whether it hair lips the Pope or not, who cares? You got to do what you got to do. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Carly Langfield. I grew up in Benton City here. First of all, wasn't planning on speaking today, but I feel like I have to. I've grown up with Chris. My entire life. I went to school with Chris. I graduated with Chris. And Chris is one of those people where my son, when Meredith can attest to, is his first grade teacher. My son's a handful. And it's going to be people like Chris that are going to help my son succeed. And my twins and everyone else that are going up through the school. People like Chris that are going to help our kids move on and go forward. And there's so many questions that I have that are, my mind's jumbled since I wasn't prepared for this. Going with the budget and the COVID grants and all this kind of stuff and the levies that we've passed. Is there a breakdown for next meeting that we can see what kind of budget and where the money has gone? Big example for me with the budget and the money and all this is I'm an AAU coach and I also coach a 7th grade softball team. And I was previously at the high school for the softball team and the sports. Knowing that sports are something that keep kids out of trouble. This last session for our AAU, there was a reason I was told that it was because of money and not having enough funding for Saturdays. We weren't even allowed to have Saturday games here at the middle school for our AAU. So that's taking parents out of the district, out of Benton City. And that's ridiculous. I mean, we were already having to pay $7 for each parent to come in and watch their kids play at a home game. But where's that money going towards? We as the public pay our taxes for that stuff to happen. It's unacceptable that on a Saturday, we can't have games at the middle school. Budgeting, I mean, where's the money going? I just kind of want to know why we can't do that. And we can't fund a position like Chris's or Reed Hahn's. That's not worth, I mean, or obviously I don't know. But you can't tell me that it's 3 positions or however many that were let go, that's where all this money is going towards when I'm speculating, I don't know the exact numbers, but we received $5.2 million in COVID grants. Where'd that happen when everything was done remotely? So those are just some questions that I have for next meeting, if you guys can address them. Thank you. My name is Emma Baumgartner. I wasn't planning on speaking, so forgive me if I start stuttering. I was one of those troubled kids throughout middle school, who was in ISS all the time and having troubles. And Johnny Zorn mentored me through that entire process, through middle school, through high school, and now with my children. He has watched us come up and mentored me the entire time, even through adulthood. And Chris Howell has sat under him through his student teaching and has learned all of those techniques that Johnny Zorn had with these troubled kids. And I can honestly say, I don't know where I would be without Mr. Zorn, without his mentorship, without him being able to talk to me on a real personal level and not be judging me like some other teachers were doing, but actually spending the time to talk to me like a human. And I also grew up with Chris, and I know that he is one of those people. I don't know Augustine and I don't know Wade Hahn, but I do know Chris. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt, this district will be less without him. So I am asking you guys to please reconsider, please look at anywhere else that you can pinch pennies, but please do not take away from our kids. Please do not take away from the troubled kids who really actually need someone just to speak to them like they're humans and not like they're troubled children. Amen. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Tanya Terrell. And I don't like doing this, but I'm going to. I went to the Crystal Apple Award for Rebecca Turner last week, last week. And as we were sitting there, the Pasco superintendent started talking about the young man that was getting the Crystal Apple Award for their district. And she started like when he was in elementary school and talking about how he went through the Pasco school system in elementary school. And then how she gave him, I think it was lunch detention in middle school or something. She gave him something. And so she talked about him through all the levels of school and the impact that the teachers had and how he learned and how he succeeded. And then that when he was in high school, I'm trying to remember this correctly, I believe he went through one of their programs where he started earning college credits. And then he was going to be a teacher. And he ended up being a teacher at their school district. He's gone through the program. She was so proud of him. She had so many wonderful things to say about him. And Pasco was so pleased and happy to have him in their district because he was one of their own. And Chris, I taught him middle school and high school, and he's a wonderful young man. He works 2 doors down from me. Already, I've seen kids all last week coming through the hallway. Where's Mr. Howe? Where's Mr. Howe? You know, I'm out there greeting kids coming in my room, and kids are going down to see if he's in his room. It's already having an impact on our kids in our school district because he's not there. So I'm disappointed in our district that we didn't keep somebody that, and like Mr. Hahn too, I'm disappointed that we did not keep people who are invested in our district. They're invested in our community. And bringing up someone through our school system and having such an impact now as an adult, he was here for a lifetime. Chris wasn't going anywhere. He was going to be here in our district for a lifetime. And I think this is a giant mistake.
Hi, my name is Tanya Hodge, and I know Mr. Howell and Wade. And my question, I know you can't answer me, but my question right now is to Mr. Peterson. I'd like to know why you think that you can read your emails or whatever you're doing when we're taking the time to address the board and you're on the board. Could you please pay attention when we speak? Because it's important to us to be here and we'd like to have your eyes on us when we're speaking so that we feel like we are important to you as well. Thank you.
Okay, I think, is there any other topic that anybody wants to speak on, a different topic?
Anybody else want to speak on the same thing?
Okay, one more person, unless there's something
I'm Jenny
other.
Carrioga. I teach in the middle school.
Sorry,
I have the question because I was
Sorry, can you repeat your
curious.
name?
Huh,
Sorry, can
Jenny
you
Carrioga, Carriega. I was curious about where the monies for paying Wade, Mr. Howell and Augustine came from. My understanding is they are from grants. So I don't understand how a job can be cut if it comes from a different budget. And I could be wrong, but I would like to know the answer to that question. That's it.
Okay, once again, is there any other topic for public?
I spoke already, but I would just like to thank the whole board for allowing us to speak. I know you didn't have to do that. We do appreciate it. We just want you to hear us. Please hear us. Thank you.
Okay, then we'll close public comment. One.
So I wasn't gonna say anything tonight. My name is Irene Alvarado and I've been a teacher here, I don't know how many years because I love my job. So I could say 18, I think, Mona, 18, 19. Yeah, I think so, something like that. I've been a teacher for over 35 years. And so the one thing that I would like to express is that one thing that our schools have focused on is on culture. What is culture? Culture is the significance of uniting as one. So you have love, heart, and compassion. And one thing that I am so passionate about our community is that we're all three. We're a united triangle, and we're trying to figure out why we're three magnificent human beings let go. We're not talking about just why. We need to know why. And I think we're not settled in our hearts as to why. And so Chris did COVID with my daughter. Where are you, Annalisa? With my daughter, and they did classes together. And I got to see that as her mother and communicating with each other classes. Both of them earned their masters together. So yay! And during COVID time, I would see Chris because of my daughter, because they were always communicating on their classes. He always had a smile on his face, always was compassionate about the kids, never came grumpy to work. And so I always valued that as an employee here. But Wade Hahn, you go a long, long time ago. We've been friends forever. And he came down when our district crashed, when Ron Castilleja was our superintendent. And basically, that's why I kind of hesitated in coming up here and speaking, because it brought back such bad memories when Ron was here. He devastated our staff. He devastated. It was a culture of division and strife and mistrust. And I believe that is what is happening right now at this particular moment. We are losing heart, compassion, trust, and we are also losing the one diamond, which is common. However, the one thing that I think about, what is going to bring us back? The community, everybody here that is united as one. We care, we love Chris. I don't know who Agustin Tovar is. I believe he is like Chris. And then there's Wade. And so we're not gonna let it go. We're fighters. We've been through this before. And we went through this battle for, Connie, remind me, like 3 years? How long were we battling with Castilleja? Okay, we battled. So a lot of the people you see here, we already have put up a battle. We've already known, and I did not want to do this, but these are people that we are going to stand by and we are going to fight. I'm older now, and I will fight for these three individuals now. And I'm not no answer, because we need answers. And that's why you're here. And I know this is a tough job, but everybody's job is tough. And so all we want is answers, and respectfully, we deserve it because we are community taxpayers and you owe us answers because we support you. You don't work for us. You represent us. And therefore, we are united as one. Remember that. We are the triangle and we're not going to go down and give up easily. So thank you for your time.
Said.
Yeah. A little hard to follow that one.
All right, so my name is Kimmy Portsmouth. I had the intention of speaking this evening, but everybody keeps talking about all the same things over and over again. You know, my children are in this district and, you know, we talk about COVID and all these, you know, funds that are disappearing, but my child's one that missed multiple middle school sports and can't move because of COVID, so there's funding there. I just don't understand where that would go, so if somebody wants to explain where all of that COVID funding from 2 years of shutdown, that would be great. This afternoon, my daughter came home from school and talks to Chris every morning, and he wasn't there for her to. She was pretty upset. My friend, I don't want to say that because he's my friend, but he does make an impact on us, and so it's hard. And you know, I work in HR, I work in administration, I understand how budgets work. But I also understand how when employees speak up, they tend to be retaliated against. So you had some very brave people speak up this evening, Chris and Wade. I just really ask that they do not be retaliated against this evening, so.
Okay, at this point, we're gonna end the public comment. Thank you for all that have so eloquently speaking out. No.
I'm sorry.
Do we have any electronic?
There was no electronic.
Okay. Okay, we will be moving on to principal reports. Looks like Lisa Upton is first.
All right. So I'm Lisa Upton and I'm the acting principal of the elementary school. So I just wanted to share a couple of things that are happening currently at the elementary school. So throughout the year, we have been talking about utilizing the middle school computer lab. And have had a conversation. And so after the middle school did their one-to-one after winter break, we started to be able to have more of a conversation in our admin meetings about that. And today was the first day that our students got to utilize the computer lab, which was wonderful. Our students were very excited to be able to use that with Mrs. Griffith. So it's a very exciting day in the elementary school. One of the other things that we will be doing on March 28th, we will be having a family engagement night down at the community center. So we will be partnering with 21st Century to be able to do that. It will be from 5 to 7, and there will be some make and take activities that families will be able to participate in. And those will be related to coping strategies that our counselor has been working on, and some social and emotional strategies as well, related to social and emotional learning skills. We also are working with our PTO on a sponsored fun run for our students, and we're looking at doing that on March 30th. And then we're also preparing for conferences, which will be March 31st. Our staff just did some professional development this past Friday, so on March 10th. We worked with Catherine Harrison, who did a presentation to our staff about an overview for dual language. And so she provided an overall overview about dual language and then talked about the dual language task force that we have here in the district and what we've all been working on throughout the year. And then we also had our ARC coach come back for her last visit to be able to talk with those who attended about unpacking unit 3, which we received, and just doing some more information about school pace and different things like that. So our staff has worked really hard throughout the year on learning about ARC, because it's a new curriculum and they've done amazing. So it's been a bit of a complicated curriculum, but they've really dug in, and so it's been great to see all of their progress, and the kids have really thrived with the reading curriculum, and just really excited to see how they continue to develop for the rest of the year and their progress throughout next year. So and then there are just a couple of other things that are coming up for our staff. There's an inclusion strategies training using the pyramid model that some kindergarten TK staff have been invited to, and then some training that our special education staff have also been invited to, related to text and handwriting vouchers. So does anybody have any questions? All right, thank you. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Mr. Fath or Mr. Campman?
We're gonna get anything fancy, like.
And
This is us that have, but hey, it'll work. We've done a lot third quarter at the middle school. And I'm very proud of the work we've done. And I have to give credit where credit's due. You can do a lot of it without the secretaries. Mrs. Lewis and Mrs. Hahn, they were driving force behind a lot of what we did. In third quarter, we had Erin Jones come in and she spoke to our students, and that was very well received. Kids really enjoyed seeing somebody from the west side over here, and she had a good message for the kids. And leadership day, we did a combination with our leadership and our ASB officers and reps, where we went to the Union Gospel Mission in the Tri-Cities, and we did a day of community service. And while I'm passing out praise, the young lady behind Mrs. Biddle over there, she's our leadership teacher. And if you ever get a chance, go check out our leadership program. She's doing wonderful things in this first year. So other things, our Valentine's Day dance we had in February nationally. We had 116 kids who made pretty good use of the afternoon. That was a fun time, and that was another team effort that we did as well. That night we had our talent show. It's our third annual talent show. We had one online, but we don't count that one officially. And we had about 8 to 9 acts. It depends on who's doing the math there, but it was really well received. And that one, like I said before, that's our secretaries. They had that up, and we had a full house. We raised like $130, charging $1 or $2. I can't remember the exact amount, but it was full. What are some other things we got here? Let me switch to the back. We just finished up our winter 2 sports season, where we had 45 student athletes participating. Coach Thomas and Coach Hal, they did a really nice job this past winter 2 season, getting kids involved and geared up. And I was really proud of the efforts that we did. We had 90 people at our winter 2 sports banquet, which went really well. Shout out to Mrs. Peterson, wherever she's at on the floor back here. She is our gear up lady, and her career fair that occurred at the beginning of March was spectacular. We had people from HAPO, we had people from Horizon Air, County Fire Department was there, storage, Smart Storage was there. It was good. It was, people were filtering in and out all day. Kids were able to see some new careers that opened their eyes. Actually, Rebecca Turner, wherever Rebecca Turner, she was our Crystal Apple. We had a pretty good crowd at ESD. They're supporting our gal area. We are starting it's not really a PTO, but it's called the Cubs Family Committee. We're trying to get away from the PTO. Our point is to educate families, get them involved with their opportunities. Mrs. Hahn is helping me a lot with that. And we're working on getting better with it, getting more people involved. But it's really kind of in its infancy, started out third quarter. And we're hoping to grow with it, see where it goes. I'm almost done, guys. Yeah, all right. Principal's honor roll. We recognized our second quarter kids. We had 145 kids that were recognized overall, either on the honor roll or the principal's honor roll. This guy here, he had a Superior Court judge, Dave Peterson, in his class. And he was speaking to kids all day about the law. And it was very well received. And it was fun to watch. Spring break is, spring break, we're all waiting for spring break, but spring sports is on the horizon. Right now, we have 86 student athletes signed up. Practice starts March 20th. Some really good news that we have, we've been building our fast pitch program over the years, and we are gonna have, we have 30 girls signing up right now, and a large part's lady on the floor right here. Kids love her for some reason. But we're really excited about that. We've been working on building our fast pitch. And we're doing some good things. We'll keep doing. Oh, and by the way, Wednesday is our music program. And if you guys are bored, not all of you together, but if you're bored, come see him Wednesday. And then you can see him Friday perform as well during our cave assembly. So you're welcome to come.
Hi. So most of you know my voice on the phone. Obviously, sorry if I interrupt all of you guys, but we do have a migrant field trip coming this week, going to Eastern Washington University. Senior honor court application stuff, I sent that stuff out. We have SAT in-school testing, which is a great opportunity for our kids because a lot of times they have to go out of the district. This allows them to do it at school during a school day, 8 to 12 noon. CBC will be hosting a running start via Zoom for Spanish speaking, English speaking families. That's coming up. We did have an assembly for our winter sports program to celebrate the success that they had. And also we had a pie in the face, of which, yes, I got a pie in the face, and I think it went viral. There's a lot of video out there on it. The one thing that I want to talk about a lot is that we're starting a new program, thanks to Mrs. Peterson and Mrs. Beshen, our Gear Up coordinators. They're starting a 8th grade welcome to the high school event, which will be going on the 22nd from 6:30 to, from 6 to 7:30. 6 to 6:30, we hope to provide a meal, and then there'll be hopefully clubs, the athletic programs there to talk to the kids and welcome them to the high school and give them a little bit about what the FFA, FBLA, and all those different programs are. And then for the last hour, we're going to divide them up into 4 groups and then give them different locations to go and learn about what's coming up in the high school, and then talk about the different classes and so forth. And that all leads to, on the 30th, they will be choosing their classes for coming up to the high school. It's really exciting because we've never done this before. We hope to kind of take away some of that fear of coming up and getting to a new building. We'll still have our beginning of the school year 9th grade meeting at the beginning of the year, because they're going to be up here in March, and for some strange reason they forget what the school would look like when they, walk through it in March. And so in August we'll have them coming back up. But other than that, all my sports stuff, I'll wait until the next board meeting, since I'll be here for that one too. But does anybody have any questions? Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great day. You're glad to be there.
All right, we'll go into new business. Governance and planning discussion. That's our subject of the month.
Yeah, and this actually won't take a huge amount of time, because the primary request I have, because I can't do this course without the board's blessing. On March 5th, WASDA, which is the professional association all the directors belong to, released a new governance and policy planning self-assessment for board members, for the board as a whole. It needs to be requested. What I would like to do is use that as a self-assessment for you all. Everything is anonymous. It then guides for further discussion down the road about policies that you all think is important, ideas around professional development for board members that you think is important, those types of things. And then WASDA will actually compile the report from the board's answers, get that back to us. But again, that's not something I'm just going to request without having some input and discussion about whether you feel it's appropriate, whether you feel it's something you want to do, something we can move forward with. I think it's always a good idea to take a reflective look at your own practices and see if there's areas that you want to focus on. As a governance group. So a little bit different than things that you might have taken, whether you're a teacher or whether you're working in Hanford. This would be something that actually you're keeping your hat on while you take those surveys and answer the questions to find out where you want to be professional.
What's the cost of doing it?
It's free of charge.
Like that.
Is that a law of the requirement or?
It is not, and that's one of the reasons I'm bringing it forward is because it's not a requirement. It's simply something that they're making available for the first time. And I thought that the board might like to have the opportunity to take a look at where you've been, where you're going, and where you want to go, quite frankly.
No, we did a self-assessment not too long ago, right? Did you guys participate? They sent that link. Because I haven't got a single response from them. It was 3-4 months ago.
Yeah, I remember.
Yes. Well, I think we did that already one time, or at least maybe it was the predecessor.
Okay, well, I'll get a hold of Mr. Garchow at WASDA and double check because, yeah, this is not one that they're sending to the masses. This has to be specifically requested by the district, so.
Yeah, they came up at one of those networking meetings, and so we applied. And I think we all participated.
Well, I'd be willing to do it again.
If there's no cost to it, I don't see why we would.
We will make that happen.
Okay, the next up is our legislative update.
Yeah, as you know, the time for bills to get out of committee has really come and gone. The primary bill that I think has the biggest chance to impact us in a negative way, quite frankly, is still referred to as House Bill 1550, and that's the bill that, for all intents and purposes, will eliminate transitional kindergarten after next year. There will be some opportunities for me to speak to the K-12 Education Committee, the Senate, which Senator Wellman is the chair. The bottom line for Benton City and a lot of smaller districts like ours is in places that don't have private daycare or very much of it. Our transitional kindergarten program and our ECAP program has been a lifeline for preschool. It's been a highly successful program since we put that in place about 3 years ago. So this is a grudge match between some members of the House of Representatives and OSPI. And unfortunately, if it passes the Senate, it would go to Governor Inslee. And quite frankly, would have the simple effect of eliminating transitional kindergarten as it's currently being funded. There are some other opportunities for funding, but not nearly at the same level that we currently are getting funded. So the idea of having 2 full certificated staff members with parapros would not be feasible with the restructuring of the funding. So that's probably the biggest one that is out there that looks to have a day-to-day impact on operations. And thank goodness they would give us 1 more year to transition, but it's still, it's not looking very good right now. So if you have any influence with any of our senators, I know I've sent off an email to Senator Dozier, just to remind them that this impacts small communities the most, because the pushback that the legislators are hearing from are from cities in Seattle, like Seattle, Spokane, the greater Tri-Cities, where there is a lot of private daycare. We're not in competition with ECAP, and we certainly are in competition with private industry as far as daycare goes. So the small schools group as a whole is taking quite a solid stand on this, but I'm not convinced it's going to get very far. But if you know anybody, please feel free. And then, as always, I'll forward you the week's events from Olympia on Friday, and see if you can see. Quite frankly, what I'm really waiting for is the date and time to testify before the K-12 Senate Committee. Okay, That's all I got.
No good news out of Olympia.
Rarely is.
Okay, well, we'll move into board comments.
What I want to say is that first of all, I want to thank everybody for coming. We get a different side, where you guys are coming from. Mr. Hal, I want to thank you. I hear your name, don't know exactly all that you do, but I got a really good feeling exactly what you do. I know your position is very important, so just want to thank everybody for coming. I know it's emotional. But it just gives us information that we can take and maybe think differently. So just thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
We have so many board meetings with nobody here. And then we have a lot.
Very receptive if you want people to show up.
Well, we discussed the budget, all the stuff that we need to discuss. Even the bad news.
But we do need to feel heard.
Any other comments?
I just like to reiterate, thank you so much for coming and speaking from your hearts and bringing some much needed information to us.
Thank you for listening.
It's been said already, but I'll say thank you as well. We try and get as much information as we can, but as Dale said, a lot of times there isn't any public comment, and even if it's bad news, good news, we want to hear from people. So we're not immune to criticism or immune. We're making perfect decisions all the time, but we certainly want input. Beyond that, separate topic, I want to thank Mr. Peterson for his time this past week. I meet with him every month, and we talked about a wide range of topics, but one of the things we talked about is community service. So appreciate an update from Mr. Campman on that. Good to hear. There's students out in the community, that's important. And another one we talked about is just some potential future course offerings and getting input from students about what they might want to take, what classes we offer now that maybe aren't fulfilling some of the interests that they have, because we want to be here for the students. So appreciate that, and hoping that community service one will be on the agenda in the near future. So.
All right.
We're good.
With nothing else, we'll adjourn.
We would love to see the
Thank
board
you.
in schools more often. You're always welcome.